Okay, ready?
All right. So now we're going to call to order the regularly scheduled Board of Selectmen meeting at 9:06 a.m. And with that, we will look to approve our minutes. I do not have any copies of minutes in front of me, so I imagine they're all in the signature file.
Review the folders first.
Yeah, I think I'm going to hold off on that until we have some documents in front of us. So with that, let's go to the manifest. And again, you know, I don't have anything here, so I'm going to have to go through the manifest. It looks like we've changed some process.
Let's review the folders.
Right, so that's it. Since we've changed some process from what we were previously doing, bear with us. We're going to go into our folders and read, sign, distribute. So with that, let's see, that's a heavy one, Chuck. It'll be it'll be a few minutes, folks. Audrey, it would appear that we have a signature line missing on the minutes.
That wasn't me.
That's not necessarily an issue. You can not be here, but yet still approve minutes.
I wasn't aware of that. I didn't think he would
Me
be.
neither.
And you can also put us in the line, you can abstain and vote, but that's all right. Thank you. Tom can abstain and we just won't have him sign.
Okay.
Hmm.
Mike, it looks like there was signature required here on the CMA.
Oh, right, yeah. Thanks, Jeff. This permit needs to be signed.
It does, but I actually got one here. You can leave that one in the file. I just put in the same thing about the attachment.
All right.
Yeah, after we were in the discussion the other day, we determined that the state's gonna require it. I'll explain that in my time.
That's good.
I'm gonna cover that in detail. At the beginning.
Yeah, that's what she was doing. Yeah. Audrey, just out of curiosity, are the wetland permits, this one's by notification, so this is really minor, but are they generally forwarded to the Conservation Commission? When they come in, and they get some notification.
I would assume so. I'll double check.
All right, just want to make sure those folks are getting everything they should. Thank you. Is this-
We need to sign. I'm looking.
Excuse me?
We're gonna need to sign it. I'll explain why.
Okay.
This is state requirements.
Oh, okay.
What it was the example when Chris filled out, plus the explanation behind it. That's the way we need to do it, not going into detail.
So you'll cover this, you want me to leave it out?
No, I got actually another one ready to go. I'm gonna sign one.
Okay.
So we approve it.
So people are listening, they want to know what that's about. That is a building permit application for the town hall library, which is an exempt structure from terminating the town, so. Back to the question, I guess Mr. Fowler will address that later. Looks like we're all through our folders, so with that, well, let's go into the approval of the minutes. March 30th, regular BOS Board of Selectmen meeting minutes. I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Hold a second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Do I have,
All right.
Hal and I. Motion to approve. Okay, we have the March 30th non-public meeting. I'll make a motion to approve.
Hold a second.
All in favor?
All right.
Hal and I. On April 6th, 2021, regular meeting minutes, I will make a motion to approve.
Hold a second.
Discussion on that? Anyone? All right, then I will bring up that I believe Ms. Dunn's first name was probably misspelled. It's Lori with a different spelling. Not a big deal, but I'll try to be nice. I marked it in the minutes just in case the location was fine. With that, all in favor?
All right.
Hal and I. All right, April 6th, non-public meeting minutes. I'll make a motion to approve.
Hold a second.
All in favor?
All right.
Hal and I. And then we had an April 13th, non-public meeting minutes. I will make a motion to approve.
Hold a second.
Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Okay, and that looks like that was a collection of 3, just to be clear. And we got back to back to back issues coming. Okay, I will make a motion to approve the manifest in the amount of $90,540.97. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
To Hal and I. We reviewed the signature folder. We reviewed the mail. And the only announcement I think we have is just that the ongoing roadside cleanup, referred to as CALP by the Conservation Commission, is in process from the 17th to May 1st. So there's blue bags available through the Conservation Commission, the town office, and most readily available at the transfer station, I believe. So if anybody wants to get out there in this good weather and try to help clean up the roadside, please do that. And we had a 91A request folder. I guess it was 2 requests. One was an older one from Ms. Leonard, which it looks like, Audrey, you've addressed by inviting her in to review materials that are too cumbersome to put together. I would think it's just the easiest way to deal with.
Correct.
Okay, and then Mr. Edwards wanted bank statements for the month of December 2017. I suppose those have been provided. Thank you. All right. Audrey, what do you have for us today? Anything?
I do. The warrant is ready to be signed and posted. Last week, we had a great meeting with the CEO, Rebecca, CDA Planning, Teresa, Assessing, and myself to understand the process of what comes in. We're going to clarify a few things, like we always can't things receive. Rebecca didn't want us to do that because that implies that they're approved. So we're ordering a second stamp for her that says completed and approved, so she can sign it. Because if an applicant sends something here, we want it received correctly.
Right.
And just things like when you get Rebecca's reports and everything attached to them, I didn't know where to file them. She told me not to even print them unless you guys really want me to. and just shred them. So I didn't know what to do with all this paperwork I was gathering. And it ended up being a really good meeting and relationship building between the departments. The town report is at a good place. Don Hatch is sending me a quick ambulance report. And then we're going to be doing a proofreading and getting everything the same font. Then we'll send it off to Minuteman, and I'll check with Minuteman. Lyle got his check Friday.
Yay.
Yay. So I got to meet him, and we had a great conversation, and I don't know who to wave to at the end of the street, but that's great. The retirement system's all up to date. The cash register at the transfer station is still having problems. So when Mark's bringing in money, we're not getting a slip that goes with it. We're getting a handwritten slip because they don't have it off the cash register. So, but it would be great if we could get his slip working again.
Yep.
I'm out on vacation tomorrow through next Monday. I'll be back in the office Tuesday morning.
Okay, then with that, when is the town report likely to go to print?
It will either be by end of day or tomorrow. So they'll be on board, and Darlene will have everything. I have it all neatly in one folder. She can send it to them. I will be available to Minuteman for questions and Darlene for questions.
Great, thank you. So the Effingham Falls Cemetery is, Lyle represents that, so everybody knows a check was cut for them. All right, with that, Tom, what do you
I
have?
just know one thing here. You all know I've been kind of busy taking care of another issue, but that should be kind of wrapping up Saturday, so I'll have some more time on my hands, hopefully. Just anyway, the signs, the road posted signs have been ordered and paid for. You see here, I'll give you all done. That was it.
All right, Chuck.
All right, first thing up, building permit for the historic town hall project at 30 Townhouse Road. The state is going to require a permit number for the different testing results that have to be submitted to the state for asbestos and for lead paint. So Chris basically Chris Garcia pulled together a document. I'll sign it. We'll have a permit, which I'll send over, get Rebecca to sign it, and basically have it available so that we can have a permit number in the event those reports need the number. We got it. And that's what that one's about.
Makes perfectly good sense now.
I also have 3 of the multitude of contracts we have out, which I need signatures on. The first one is Cobalt Construction Management. Chris Garcia. Chris is going to be doing the construction project management for the program. The contracts include the certificate of insurance and the W-9s, so they're a package. Jim's on-call painting for the exterior painting. You'll notice his is basically screenshots. He doesn't do things by computer, but we get the full contract and we have a signature page for that. And his information, cost of insurance, W-9 is there. Conger and Sons, Metalworks. We have the contract, we have the certificate of insurance, we don't have the W-9, so we won't mail that deposit out until we get that, but we're supposed to have that tomorrow. And those will be the 3 for this week. Hopefully we'll get the bulk of the other ones back by next Tuesday. We can sign those. I also have a, well, let me back up before I get into this other piece. Last week we had the architect, Norman Larson, the historic architect, myself, Chris Garcia, Cobalt Construction Management, Leo Racine. Leo's from the Preservation Society. He's also one of the main volunteers on the project. We did a tour of the building as part of the information that Norman's acquiring for the architect report that is being put together. During that particular touring session, we discovered we have asbestos in the ceiling above the children's room. That is going to need to be taken out during the construction process. And I actually have Chris went out and got a proposal from a company he's worked with for testing and consulting. So I basically need an authorization to sign this agreement for this proposal. I will get it changed so rather than Chris's name being on it, the town's name will be on it. The price tag of that will be $620 plus $15 per standard PLM analysis. So they actually have to take samples of each one of the areas, and each one of those is $15 a piece. The good news is these are actually asbestos boards. They're about 2 feet by 3 feet. So we're hoping we only have to take one test per board and then about 10 boards. So it's gonna be about 150 bucks, give or take on top of that, unless they need to grab more samples. Go ahead, Mike.
Just curious, if all the boards are identical, couldn't you just test one board?
I will, when I make, Chris is gonna meet me there when this guy comes in to do the survey, and we're gonna answer the question.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Where we know they're all the same thing, you know, how do we take samples of everything? And some of it might be dictated by what the state requires for so many square feet you have to test stuff and whatever. Don't know yet. The other thing is that with this particular survey, I'm gonna recommend we take it out of the town municipal funds, because had this project not existed, we were still gonna have to do this work anyway. So I basically like to have a discussion on that.
So, I mean, let's explore that a little if we can.
Yeah, that's fine. Bring it up.
So we're talking about 800 bucks ballpark.
Yeah, less than 1,000.
Okay, so you want to take this out of what municipal funds exactly? Trust fund?
Building fund. Because it's
Municipal building
Yeah.
operations,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I thought. I don't have a problem with that, Tom.
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Okay. So I will get it reissued with the town's name on it rather than Chris's, so the bill will come through us.
Okay, and then you're gonna need a signature on
I will do
that.
that
Okay,
when I get that back.
I was gonna say, I'll make a motion to authorize Selectman Fuller to sign a one signature approval. Tom?
Hot second.
Okay, with that, all in favor?
All right.
Al and I.
Aye.
Okay.
And I'm meeting with JP Pest Control, the town's pest control company, at about 12:30 to 1 o'clock today to crawl under the building. They need to go in and do a survey of the damage. So the damage we're talking about, folks, when we discovered the asbestos on the first floor, when we crawled into the crawl space, we found a sizable infestation of powder post beetles, and it's active. It is one of the big reasons why the floor dips in front of the checkout desk in the library. So when you walk in right now, there's a big hump that goes all the way across. That's one of the main beams. Everything to the left where the desk is sagging, and that's because the beams underneath it are not supporting it the way they should anymore because of the beetles. So we do know there's going to be a major restoration project on that at some point. We need to get a structural engineering report in first, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Today is basically to come in and find out what it'll take to spray the entire crawl space, which needs to be done sooner than later. And today is to basically determine the extent of what's there, and then they're going to provide a proposal, which I'll have for next week, and we'll talk about it then. Yep,
When I saw the bill in there for the pest
different.
company,
That's the regular town stuff, but it has nothing to do with this yet.
okay,
Same company.
they're gonna come in and look at it.
Yeah, we're crawling under it. At 12.
So I take it this wasn't part of the spraying service before.
It's a separate, and I don't know how expensive it's gonna be, but I'm told it's not cheap. There will be a need for a structural engineer as part of the work. Norman Larson had already scheduled the engineer to come in and answer and look at a couple of other things when he's here in early May. Basically adding this additional work on top of that's going to be somewhere between $2,500 and $4,500 is the number that Norman got the other day. What that will do is provide us the information on where the structure is today. Is it safe to still even keep the doors open to the library? If not, what are the options? It'll also provide us a direction and be in the architect report on what the repairs will need to look like for repairing the beams. We know right now, just from the discussions we had on Thursday, it literally is going to be me taking all of the stacks and all of the books out of the main room of the library. So the desk, the countertops that are there, all the stacks, all the books, everything's going to be come out when we get ready to do that project. And that'll probably mean the library be closed a month. We have no clue when that's going to take place. We have no clue how we're yet going to pay for it. We do know it needs to be done. So it may be, and I've already talked to Elchip, we may have to put a project or two out of phase one on hold for phase two, so that we use some of the money for that to take care of this floor. The nice thing is, at the end of it, we'll have a very nice looking flat floor that people can walk in and not worry about tripping on.
So, jump in here just quickly. So it looks like we're going to be kicking out projects down the road because of, we have to ship. It's clear. I think maybe when we get together, we have Dave Strauss here as well. We've talked with some of the budget committee chairman, ourselves, whomever else is deemed necessary to come in. But it looks like we're going to be receiving funds from the state or the federal government, the stimulus monies were discussed. And maybe a portion of those funds could be made available to offset this. So we could look at creative ways to fund this whole situation after the fact without incurring a tax effect.
Yeah.
And I think
What I'm
that's
trying to do
very
now is,
achievable.
kind of let everybody know that there's going to be a process that's going on. We don't have enough information right now to even really talk about it in detail.
Right, till we know what the amount is, but I think there's a good possibility they'll be able to offset or completely cover it without causing a tax increase down the road.
Right.
That's my thought out of the box.
Yeah, my concern right now is making sure the structural engineer gets in there and goes under there and says, hey, you can still use the library, you can still keep it open, it's safe enough to do that. But if they come back and say it's bad enough, we need to shut it down, then we'll need to address what that looks like.
Any time frame when that structural.
The engineer is supposed to come in the early part of May.
Okay.
The architect report is supposed to be here by the end of May. So we'll know in May kind of what our exposure is.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris has already started to do some homework in the industry around beams and things like that. We'll need to replace it. Because we're following the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation, we'll be taking out rotted beams, we'll be putting back in beams. They'll look a little different. They're not going to be tree trunks, they'll be squared off, but we'll still have to do that back in there. And as a result of the weight of the library stack area, there is additional cribbing underneath there right now that was put in back when the library did a big project years ago. We're going to have to address that whole thing to make sure that with what is there for weight with all the books and the stacks, that there's proper cribbing underneath that room to make sure that nothing happens in the future.
I know you brought up on the structural engineering, but to say whether the building is safe or not, you feel it's safe right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know, had no issues with it, and neither did Chris where we are today, based on what we know. But they said getting that structural engineer in there as soon as possible is the recommendation. So we will do that and see where it goes.
Can I ask what engineer are we bringing? Just out of curiosity.
It's the one, the same, he's been, the same, I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, Mike.
Yeah.
It's the engineering company that was part of the building assessment report we did in 2019. And he's the same engineer that did all the engineering work back at the Elchip in 2005, 2006. So when they redid a lot of the beam and the structure and the cupola and everything, he was involved with that whole thing. So the good news is it's an engineer with history with the building,
Right.
which is going to help us from a cost standpoint.
That's what I was hoping.
Yeah. So the transfer station register tape that Audrey mentioned, when I went down there last week to check it out, they put in a new tape and it was working absolutely perfectly. And apparently with what Audrey found out in the last day or two, it's no longer working perfectly. So I'll go down and take a look at that tomorrow, and I'll pick up some of the tape we've got in here, that was specifically for that machine, and I'll try and make sure it's loaded properly. The other question that came up over the weekend, and I didn't get a chance to take a look at, our seasonal stickers, I believe, are red for the transfer station. Is that correct?
I don't know.
They are. There was one of our patrons that came in that had the red sticker, but he came in before Memorial Day. Apparently, in our policies, we have a time limit Memorial Day to Labor Day. And what I'd like to take a look at is kind of getting rid of that particular requirement of time for expanding it. Because, I mean, I told Mark to look to the person in there because they had a sticker, but technically, according to our ordinance, we can't.
So is it the new sticker was issued pre?
No, the person had a sticker,
Yeah.
apparently, already.
No.
And it's one of those things like the new stickers he hadn't applied for yet because they technically don't come in until the 1st of June
Okay.
or after Memorial Day. So he was on the old sticker
It was on the old sticker.
because the new ones aren't available for the time period.
They're just looking to push dates.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna charge $1 for the sticker, and we're basically kind of identifying if you're living in town, well, in this case, last year, blue, if you're out of town, seasonal, it's red. Everybody's paying the buck. I really don't know why we have a time difference.
On the red versus,
On the
yeah,
red versus.
that's a throwback to some.
Yeah, it was something we just copied and pushed it forward and we read it in the policy. So I'm gonna pull the policy out. I'll take a look at where that language is in there and we'll take a look at changing that.
Yeah.
So,
Clearly, what we're doing for $1 is just verifying that people are using the facility that belong there. So it's, yeah.
and the same process will employ if you're registered in the town of Effingham, you'll be able to get your sticker at the transfer station. If you're living with a mass, let's say a mass plate, not living in town, you'll still have to come to the town office like today and get the red sticker. So,
Excuse me, we have been issuing seasonal stickers because I wasn't aware of the dates in the ordinance.
perfect.
So we've been issuing them
I would say
since
continue.
February, because people come up and say we're doing spring cleanup right now.
Yeah. And I don't see a problem with, you know, doing that. You get
We
here.
just need to change our written document
Right.
to coincide with it. And last week I had a couple of discussions with Sergeant Welch regarding the setup of Effingham Police Association, a new 501c3 nonprofit, how that would be set up. We talked about what it'll take to get the federal ID number. Sean's already working on that.
I gave them, you need a new number for that, yeah.
And now that we have that, we can apply for the state nonprofit piece on that. And he's actually consulted with Wakefield PD, who actually has this an active association, similar design, just to make sure we're getting all the steps right to do that. So that's in play to be able to eventually set up and literally it'll be a charitable organization supporting Effingham Police Department activities. That's all I have this morning, Mike.
All right, I'll try to get through mine quick because I know we have Susan Slack joining us at 10 to discuss what we're planning to do on town meeting day, whether we're indoors or outdoors. So with that, let's see. I had, I'd like to just a little bit of a safety announcement. I should have probably had this earlier, but the Effingham Elementary School is going to participate once again in the roadside cleanup. And I just want to let folks know that the kids will be out there on the 22nd of this month, April 22nd. So if we could be kind of conscious that we're going to have some children on the side of the road, probably that you're not used to seeing at certain days and places and dates. So I just wanted to make sure that that was aware, they were aware of that. And there is somewhat of a street plan, but it's kind of vague. So I'm not going to, well, I'll just say around the library, Libby Road, Champion Road, Champion Hill Road, Drake Road, and Green Mountain are the areas that is being targeted. So I'll say that again, around the library, Libby Road, Champion Hill, Drake, and Green Mountain Road on the 22nd. We may have some children from the elementary school out there, so beware of that, please.
real quick, touch on the cleanup.
Yes.
Around town.
Yes.
How are we being notified when the blue bags being picked up? Not with the school kids, but with.
It's same as last year. We hope that people will call into the town office. If you have a phone number of one of the board members, select board members, you can contact us directly and we'll get out there and pick up the blue bags and bring them to the transfer station. And that's pretty much our standard process as it is right now in the COVID environment.
Yeah, I just wanted to announce it.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Tom. With that, I'm still waiting to find out about our signs that we have on order in Concord. I also am part of, well, the town is through me, the PW Net and some other affiliations with TPW associations and such. So I saw something that suggested there's a cheaper alternative out of Massachusetts for sign purchases and post. And it specifically references the company that we're presently involved with, a lower price than. So on our next purchasing, we'll probably take a look at that and see if that's actually factual. Save money where we can. Let's see, other than that, I know this is kind of getting ahead of things, but in June, there's a class being offered for the 2-year biannual certifications for culvert installers. And I need to take that to stay active. So I have signed up at this point. It's a refundable thing if they're noticed in time. So that is on June 15th. And that is a Zoom type meeting. So I won't have to travel for that. So that'll be the case. And I got my transcript and I'm 3 credits away from senior road scholar. And wow, yeah, big step, milestone. But
That means he gets 2 shovels to shovel gravel with?
Yeah, or something. With that, I also there's some virtual trainings right now. We usually have to pay for these that are available, and I'm going to take advantage of that. So should I attend this class in June, that'll fulfill the next level with the Road Scholars Program. Let's see what else we got here. I would say that hopefully, I think I mentioned it before, but our 91A cheat sheet, I'm gonna call it, that we use here, was deficient because it left out a couple of subparagraphs. So at some point, probably, if that hasn't been addressed, I'll work with the office to see that we update that. And our activities reports at NRRA, which is Northeast Resource Recovery Association, is in. So it looks like we're getting better money on steel these days. It's more than double what it was a year ago, $90 a ton. So that some revenue stream there. And glass continues to be about $35 under the ton price when we move that out of single stream, which we do single stream by $20 a ton. So those are all positives. I provided Audrey with the template we used last year for town employee evaluations. Again, I think we all have established a way forward on using these. So if we need to get together, I'll go through Audrey probably just to fill those out as we have in the past, if that's still acceptable, and we'll get those out for people to complete the evaluations this month. We're a little behind the curve on that, but I think better than what was taking place prior, so we'll strive to do better. And when those signs come in Concord, I will go pick them up unless somebody else would like to do it. Then,
like I talked to the state last week, they're still making one of the signs and then they'll call us. So we do have a check information on that. On the 91A update, if we could look at that together.
sure.
Because Darlene and I did, and we don't think the others are applicable to us. And then with the employee template, kind of what goes with that is we're doing a new hire checklist to get all the information we need instead of being told, oh, so-and-so is starting Saturday as a part-time employee. person. So we're doing a new hire and an exit checklist. So,
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds everything good. Oh, there's Miss Lapp. Come on right in, Susan.
How's everybody?
Very good.
How you doing? No. So just finishing up on selectmen's comments here, Susan, so great
No, I
timing.
don't mean to interrupt what you're doing, but
Got it? We'll get right with you.
go right ahead.
Counselor, Governor's Counselor Kenny, Joe Kenny called in, I want to say 2 weeks ago, and discussed some things that are positives for the town. Essentially, the $150,000 stimulus money thereabouts, that's an approximate number that the town may benefit from this year. So for things that we didn't recently expect to happen, maybe there's some offsetting funds that will alleviate that issue and others. So in following up with Councilor Kenny, he alluded to the stimulus that may come down from Washington. So I wanted to make sure that his office kept us informed of that. And I would be looking to chase any of those funding options. And with that, he gave me some other numbers to contact people. Congressman Pappas's office, I reached out to them to make sure that they're aware that we're interested in shovel-ready funding for various number of projects that we could tackle. I included the town hall issue in that as well, Chuck, so you know. And I'm waiting to get some more information from Northern Borders, but I don't think they're really going to be applicable to us. And community development block grants didn't seem like they were going to work out that well either, and that was for some of the contacts. But I made a number of calls yesterday to a number of organizations to see what comes through. And I think what we're probably looking at as a best option would be through the USDA to pursue other funding options similar to the bridge, but for the town hall or perhaps other in-town projects for culverts and bridges and whatnot. So we'll continue to explore those avenues. Let's see, health officer email has been or has not been set up. It's still
I just need to give you the password.
wonderful.
Okay, I'll forward that to you.
Great. So the town warrant we're signing and will be posted today. Let's see. I think that's all we need to go into and all of that. Some other issues. I will say that I reached out to a resident on Province Lake Road, something to do with a bridge, potentially on that individual's property, but the name didn't correspond to any records of ownership that I had. So I called and I have not received a call back. So now put that the onus on the property owner to reach out. And with that, I think that's really all the necessary things to go through at this time. So I want to welcome our town moderator, Susan Slack, once again.
How's everybody?
Hi, Susan.
Good.
Good.
Doing well. So
It's spring.
it is. So for people that are out there viewing this meeting, the issue is town meeting, indoors, outdoors. Obviously, weather could be a problem. Obviously, we have some logistical items to work through as to if we don't go outdoors, getting chairs and whatnot and tables and everything set up, microphones potentially. How do we do this? Does it make sense? What do we need to prepare for? So this is a little brainstorming, Dave. If you have thoughts too, please chime in, as well as Audrey. Do you? Maybe with Deanna probably should be a part of this as well.
I asked her, she is super busy
Super
today,
busy.
but she said if we decide to do outdoors, she cannot help with that because of her ankle situation. So she would request that there be some kind of, someone to do the heavy lift.
Well, we're gonna need some roadies, that's for sure. So.
I know there are a bunch of towns that are doing the May 15th or that week outside. Tuckenboro, I think, is doing it outside. I could try to get in touch with some of those moderators and see what they're doing. You know, I don't know if they're setting up tents or having microphones. I don't know. I mean, it's I don't know. I think we're all just kind of creating as we go.
Well, I guess for other folks, just so that people know, we needed to provide alternative voting locations in March. So we couldn't do that. We couldn't get tents in March.
Right.
And so we have poll workers that would be concerned in March about their health and having people without masking. So it just came down to, it wasn't going to work for Effingham. So we moved it out to May, fresh air environment. So election, we can open doors, use the school. Mask mandate has been lifted, but we will still have masks mandated for going in the school for election. And we can set up an outdoor, we'll still service people outdoors who don't want to wear a mask. Is that your understanding?
Yeah, I don't think we'll have all the obligations to set it up like we did for the state federal election. But we can still, if somebody doesn't want to come inside with a mask on, we can still do what we usually do with someone who's got a mobility problem or whatever, and we just bring them a ballot, have the clerk or one of her deputies or assistants bring the ballot, get the person checked in, do it that way. So I don't think we need as big a deal as we did in September and November. That's my understanding.
So we will still be in the school with options to go outside and have whoever doesn't want a mask.
But we don't have to have, you know, a ballot box outside and you know, the whole 9 yards out there like we did.
So there's no logistical problems for the most on the election day. So we're just focusing on town meeting. Did you?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I saw you figure out there.
Nope.
So, okay, if we're to go outside.
So a question.
Yes.
The school, is it a school rule that you have to have a mask in the building?
I don't know, but the municipalities with the lifting of the mask mandate by the governor still leaves that up to businesses and municipalities. So it can be our rule if that's what everybody's comfort level is.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Right, and I think that's where we are, because not everybody's had the opportunity to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
So mask mandate, I think, is what, I haven't heard anybody suggest otherwise. I'll put it that way. So with that now, it just comes.
Do you know if that requires you guys to adopt, you know, a local resolution to that effect, or whether that is like a moderator's
I
rule?
believe that's still up to the moderator on town meeting and election days.
That's what I thought, yeah.
And I think you have the authority to do that.
Right.
So.
Okay, so we can get something on the website saying.
Sure.
Some of that stuff. I can talk to Teresa about.
Okay.
Like we did for November and September. We did that.
And I think, Audrey, you now post things as well on the website. You have access to that, do you?
Yes.
Okay.
So between the two.
Deal with Audrey,
yeah, maybe with Audrey initially anyway, so you know what the message, we're all in agreement about the
on
message.
the same page. Yeah.
Whether Teresa posted.
Yeah.
So now going outside, again, if that's, I would say that we considered it as an option and it wasn't a hard and fast.
Yeah.
So, you know, my consideration.
Would, but
yeah, well, it just wasn't, if we made it a hard and fast, we probably wouldn't be at this point we are right now trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So my concern is things like black flies, cold weather, windy weather, rainy weather. And we're not going to have an answer until we're closer to that date, is whether we're outside or inside of the thing. So I guess we should consider that inside is standard processes we've always had with some folks without masks would be allowed. I believe, I don't know that you can say no to that.
That's the problem. You know, if the moderator says the rule is you have to wear a mask, you're not preventing them from voting in an election. But if you don't let them in, I guess you are preventing them from debating and voting on warrant articles.
So we don't have an alternative area for people who don't want to wear masks. So what I had thought, if we happen to be inside, was put them towards the gymnasium doors, a section over there, closest with the doors open, airflow.
Yeah.
And I
So
would
we have those back gym doors
right.
open.
Yeah.
2 sets of double doors
Yeah.
would be open.
And
People would still come in through the
normally.
hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that, I would think that you would do your homework is to see what your authority is in the
Yeah.
whole mask
Yeah.
mandate.
Yeah.
I have no doubt you will do that. So, given that, if we're in good shape, and we could probably get the school doors in the front entrance open, all of that to allow some additional airflow. We can talk to Principal Morrissey and see if there's any issue with that. So from there, if it's a picture perfect day, we could absolutely go outside. That would be fine. Now it comes down to all those things of like microphones, because indoors, I think it's easier to
Yeah.
hear people.
Yeah.
So we would probably have to have microphones for yourself, the board members, and the public. And then I don't know about the shared mics. So these are things to be considered. And then
Yeah.
how do we get 100 chairs and I don't know, a half dozen or so tables or whatever is going to be needed outside? And what's our location? Because are we going to be in that side parking lot? You know, is that afford more depth, or are we going to be in the front and stretch it out, you know, where the main entrance is, on the grass, which is problematic with chairs in the soft soils and travel for people who may have some difficulty walking. So I think we're on the asphalt.
Yeah, I think so.
And depending if it's a ridiculously hot day, which can happen, then asphalt is not your friend. But if we're outside, I guess the hurdle is logistically getting all of our equipment and chairs and stuff out there, and PA devices, what have you. So we need to solve those problems.
Which parking lot do you think would work the best?
I'm just off the top of my head.
People need to park somewhere.
Right, and with that, there's
Not huge.
there's a road around the back of the building as well, so maybe there's additional parking there.
Is that paved? Or is
It's
it
not paved.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
So I guess to my way of thinking, we could probably get the select board on the walkway somewhat, and yourself and others tend to be in front of the stage to somebody. You could wing out a little on, say, the sidewalks, maybe. I'm just throwing this out here in a moment. And then folks could spread forward.
Which
I would use the sidewalk. Is that big enough?
which parking lot are we talking about?
So when you come in,
The regular.
where we usually the
entrance.
staff parks when you do the meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Use that whole section, just walk it off.
You could do that.
Yeah, and so that sidewalk that goes into that side door, we could use for, I don't know, is that where the selectmen would be, where the moderator would be?
Well, we all would have to be to the front where the sidewalk is to some degree, because there's like a dumpster enclosure there.
Oh, yeah.
So that's blocking. So we'd have to probably be a little downstream from that, so people could see and hear to the sides.
Yep.
And there affords a little more depth there, perhaps, as Chuck would have.
Yeah, one of the concerns, you know, the chairs, the seating we have are those bench.
Unless we bring a
things.
lot of and I think the school has some, but I don't know how many.
Do they? Yeah, they have some.
They have some, but I
Not a
don't.
lot.
Well, you gotta figure we need to provide for probably 100 people or more.
Yeah.
Like you go in the parking lot, you're gonna need a specialized tent, because you can't stake them down like you can when you're in the ground. If those are gonna be available this short a time frame?
We're not doing a tent.
I don't think we're.
This is
You're not
all
gonna
open
do a
air.
tent at all?
Yeah.
If it's tent required, we're gonna go inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's again, I don't know what black flies are gonna be like on that time, which, you know, people are not going to suffer the bad weather and bugs and stuff. some people just can't tolerate it.
Yeah, I know.
So, right now I'm leaning towards inside because of all the variables. But again, if it was a beautiful day, I've got no problem being outdoors.
What do you guys think? I mean, it's a pain.
I'm worried about the weather component,
Yeah.
and I'm also worried about the, how many people are gonna volunteer to lug equipment outside,
Right.
set stuff up, and then break it down. I don't think we have as big a group.
Right.
Because of the whole COVID thing, we got some people who said, hey, I'm not getting involved.
Right.
That's my only big worry, is if we have it outside, the setup part of it's gonna be an issue.
So if we did it inside, how could we make use of that room and spread people out?
Well, it's 6 foot spacing is still the issue. Like that's still, we can have that. So if somebody comes in as a couple, they can certainly sit together,
right.
6 feet away, the next people, and we can back that all the way out to the walls. So
Which is easier with chairs and
true,
not with those benches.
right?
And-
So
Excuse me, I think Randy had drawn something up, actually.
yeah, he had done some kind of math on, and it didn't account for people who are doubling up, traveling together, I don't believe. But it seemed like we can accommodate people, theoretically. And I think the big thing now is to find out about what seating arrangements. Do we have enough chairs and such?
Yeah. Well, we probably have enough chairs. Well, yeah. I mean, we don't, in a normal times,
Right.
we have enough chairs, benches, whatever, to accommodate anybody who comes to the town meeting. Is if you're using those benches and spreading people out on them, maybe we don't.
Well, I don't know that we used the tables for seating in the past. We usually use chairs, right? That was a line of chairs.
We've had those benches.
Is it?
Yeah, it's because you fold it, they're folded so that you don't have the table up, it's just in the back,
Right.
and you're sitting on the bench.
Well, here's a thought. We could take an inventory with the school and just how many chairs are available there.
Yep.
And if we're deficient, what we can get from the rental companies, I should imagine, is chairs. We could just simply call up
Like
and
that. Like
Yeah.
those. Yeah.
bring in what they have for chairs, and there we go. Call them, bring them in, call them, take them out.
Yeah.
And maybe that would solve it indoors or outdoors.
Yeah.
That would
I
help.
like that idea.
Yeah.
Give me a lot of time, I'll come up with something.
Well, they set them up too.
CDC updated their spacing requirements to 3 feet.
Oh,
for
okay.
Classrooms or mass universal, so I'm not sure if we could use
Well,
that 3 feet or not.
That's kids.
Yeah. I think the 6 feet was still recommended, and again, these kind of things fall to the municipalities to institute.
Right.
And that day, that really means you.
Yeah.
You're the moderator, and you'd be setting that. So.
Yeah. So what's your gut feeling of how many people would want to come to town meeting and refuse to wear a mask? I don't think it's huge.
I don't think it's huge. I think most people, whether they personally feel that they need to wear a mask or not, maybe certainly higher than those who would do it for the comfort of others.
Yep.
So I think you're going to have relatively few people that are just going to be a hard line on that. The other thing I had considered is when somebody's actually speaking to the issues of the day, or maybe the board members, yourself, if we wanted to really be heard, and that's an issue, we could just simply allow people to speak to the issues unmasked, put your mask on after that and sit down. And I think people would have a greater comfort level communicating that way.
Yeah.
But that was just, again.
Yeah. I wonder how people would feel about sharing microphones, though.
Right, and a lot of people.
It's mostly like, contagion is from the airborne.
Right.
I mean, it's not like
A surface.
I'm touching that microphone that somebody else touched.
I think most people in the past have been pretty comfortable just speaking louder.
Yeah, and which I would, I usually try to insist that people go to the microphone, but I wouldn't do that.
Right.
If they can speak up and not have to climb over people, get to a microphone, that's fine.
So, and
I'm good with that.
it'd be nice to have a microphone available. I just recently ran into,
I think
one-
I should have a microphone.
I think you should, so you can
And maybe
get
you
over
guys-
everybody else's.
Yeah.
But I just ran into somebody in town recently who had a surgery and their voice
Yeah.
is not gonna project.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to minimize their
Right.
input by not having that available.
Right,
So,
definitely.
yeah, so I think we can do this. We can get a company to bring X number of chairs and we can look into that. And then if we are comfortable inside, then we can just do this inside. Or if you really think we should plan for outdoors, we can kind of chase down what it's gonna take to microphones and, PA systems and what have you.
It's a pain.
Yeah, it is difficult. A lot of places, I think,
I guess I would be more comfortable inside if we're not using the benches.
yes, we can certainly do that. I think we can
We
get
can make that work.
chairs, yeah.
Absolutely.
I think the comfort level, I think most people would probably prefer to be indoors. That's just my gut feeling. I didn't take a census.
Yeah.
But it's, we want everybody to be as comfortable with the decision as possible.
Have it inside, you're taking the weather right out of the picture too.
So it's pretty much the normal routine of getting the gym set up.
Yeah.
That we usually do,
Yeah.
except bring in the chairs. And I like the idea of people who really aren't gonna wear a mask being by that back.
Yeah.
Double doors, which should be open.
We could possibly get some of our election poles with the little, chain or whatever that is, and just kind of section that off and say, hey, I'm sorry,
A
but,
little corral.
just for everybody else's comfort and whatnot. And,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to be on this side and
Yeah.
of course, walk out the back along the wall or what, for a
Right.
travel path.
Right, but they'll still have to come in
The front
the
door,
front because voters have to be checked off
right.
to be able to vote and participate.
And it's, minimal amount of contact though, and the person checking in obviously can wear their own.
Yeah.
And then just direct them
Do
to,
we still have masks that we can hand out at the door?
I believe we do, and if we don't, we should be able to accommodate.
Because we'll
that.
need that for
Yeah,
election
that's
day, the Tuesday, and maybe have some more for
Right,
the Saturday.
so we can make sure that we have a sufficient supply, I should hope.
Yeah, talk to Deanna.
Yeah.
She's been in touch with the school about, the PA system already
Good. Okay.
and the chairs.
Yep.
So she'll be more up to date and let you know who to talk to there.
Okay.
But we do have a slew of masks. Randy keeps bringing them to us.
Oh,
We're
good.
not using them all. And she still has all of her things.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, we need to have a microphone for that section without masks, just their own.
I think their voices would carry, but if we have the portable microphone, perhaps that would.
Yeah, so it sounds like we'll need more microphones than we usually have?
Well, I think the board will be fine on the stage with whatever we've done in the past. We've had a single microphone we can share. I think we're spending enough time together. And then yourself, you'd have
The
one.
regular setup there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a third one could be, for anybody who needs it. If we can't be heard, then you usually insist, please use the microphone.
Right.
Everybody can't hear you. Other than that, people just seem to bring it up an octave or two.
Yeah. Right. Are you anticipating that you'll have any, like, non-voter experts, consultants?
We're not bringing anyone in.
No.
No. I think our warrant articles are pretty, I believe you had an overview of them a while back, but it's
That
pretty
hasn't
benign.
changed. That
Yeah.
hasn't changed.
Yeah, no, there's a couple of petition warrant articles, but I don't think that this, nobody's bringing in experts as far as.
Right. What are our petitions?
One is to reach out to the government and gerrymandering. I don't even know where that came from.
Oh, yeah, that's like a
Floated,
statewide
yeah.
effort, yeah.
And
right.
then there's
Like
another
an
one.
independent, redistricting
Yes.
commission? Yeah.
And then there's another one for tax exemptions, which I believe the person felt that hasn't been touched since, I don't know, 2003, but it really was addressed in 2017. So I don't know how big that's going to go. And then there's another one that has to do with assessing. No, not assessing. It's to do with the procurement ordinance. And I don't think anybody's bringing in expert lawyers to, to testify on that. So yeah, those are the only 3 petition ones we have. We had 2 warrant articles brought forward that weren't supported or recommended by the budget committee of the Board of Selectmen for fire department items. One's for daytime staffing,
Right.
and another one's for defibrillators or either one or several. And I believe Chief Burbank was actually looking to try to get the nonprofit status established even for the fire department, and they could potentially then have a donation that I think would for the defibrillator. Otherwise, if he can't do that,
they get some grants for defibrillators.
well, if Randy can't get that donation or get it set up that way, the $38,000 that's being asked for, I've got an option through the USDA to file for basically $21,000 of that money. But here's the catch. Without the warrant article going through and being passed, I can't file a grant. So I'm going to be in the next filing. It was April 16th was the cutoff. So it would be an after the fact, because you have to have that support, and then I put the package together. And it's not as in depth as the bridge, but it's still going to have numerous things dealing with the federal government. You got to put together and collect data and send it off.
And do we have a warrant article on a bridge?
We don't.
No, that was last year. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All we're looking at this year is the Bailey Road culvert to start funding some of that for the implementation grant that hopefully.
Right.
We're going to have a presentation by CMA engineers at the end of May, which we've already had a preliminary one in April. And they're going to say, here's the designs, here's the one we focus mostly on. It comports with the DES requirements. And they're going to give us a price point for what it should cost to install.
Right.
And from there, June to September, there's a window to go back to DES and file for 40% of the installation grant. So I'm working with the state to do that. So with that, we're only asking for $15,000 in taxable monies for the $50,000 we're putting towards this culvert.
Right.
And then next year, if we get the grant, we'll probably be in a similar position to probably fund it all from unassigned fund balances. The board's been able to do some things with getting our money straightened away for the town. And then we might have a small taxation, again, potentially in the neighborhood of $25,000. So a $350,000 project for installation for basically $40,000 in tax effect spread over 2 years. I don't think there's going to be a huge pushback against that, because if we don't do it and the Bailey Road culverts fail, then we're going to spend tons of money and everybody's going to get a big tax bill. So yeah, right now, I mean, we don't have anything. Road project is the only other thing, which we typically go for ballpark $250,000 a year. And we're offsetting $40,000 of that because, projects came in under budget. So there's really not a lot of controversy, and so many of our warrant articles are being funded through unassigned fund balance because of things like that coming in under budget. We found ways to corral some money, and we're going to fund a lot of things without raising taxes. So if people come in and argue that, I'd be very surprised, but you never know.
I don't see that.
It's and the operating budget in the warrant articles collectively put together have a lower tax effect than last year. So, the ability to hold the cost down was a minor miracle, I think, and we're all pretty happy where we're at with it. So I really don't see that there's gonna be a contentious meeting this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm just thinking. I bet we don't have a huge crowd.
You never.
You
never
know.
know.
There goes that.
Yeah, right.
I shouldn't have said that.
Well, you know, and I would say getting participation is really important because you could get some folks to come in and just want to be, you know, the anarchist kind of attitude and vote down things that would be for your benefit, your best option. So I hope a lot of people do show up. It's town meeting, traditional town meetings are like the best option for people to be active in their communities and make the decisions that
Yeah.
affect them. I would hate to be an SB2 town. I've
Oh,
always
it's
enjoyed the
awful.
traditional,
Yeah, I would
so.
think it's horrible.
I
And
hope
it's
people-
also good for people to kind of vent and get it all out there and
Yeah,
calm down.
no, you can get the answers because when you get in a room full of people, you get a lot of competing questions that people don't stay as informed. They can't, you know, life's busy. So it's a day of really getting some understanding out there.
So town reports aren't out yet. They're not printed, you know.
We're discussing that. They're going out this week to the printers though.
Oh, good.
Yeah, possibly tomorrow or the next day.
So how are we gonna distribute?
I would imagine at the door when you come through and you say, I'm so-and-so, I belong here, and you let them in, they could have somebody handing out an individual report to.
People usually like to get them ahead of time.
It will be in PDF format on the website,
Oh,
and
good.
we'll have some here.
And that'll cut down on the duplicity of the same person getting 3 or 4 reports a
Yeah.
year, because you know that happens.
Yeah.
And we're reducing the amount we're ordering because we've had leftover ones, so we're trying to just kind of reduce some costs and make sure everybody has it, like Audrey said, on the website. So the information will be made available as soon as we can get it out there.
That sounds good. All right, what else?
I don't know. Anybody else?
I would say pull Randy's layout and take a look at that and see how comfortable you are with that.
Okay.
'Cause he actually went over and measured everything up and came back with a diagram.
And he has that where? He has it, you
Yeah.
have it?
I don't know, you could talk to Deanna before you leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So does that mean there's like a limit on the number of people that can come in?
I don't know. I mean, when he did it, it was 6-foot spacing. You know, it was the full push. So, and like I said, he didn't really, as far as I recall, and I could be wrong about, but I don't think he considered people who were comfortable sitting together or coming together or couples or, you know, yeah, right. I didn't think he did. So you might have.
I think I saw it, wasn't it circulating around a couple of months ago?
I didn't see it, I just heard conversation.
Well, you have people that have social circles too, that like certain couples or, you know,
People
groups
wanna
of
sit
couples
together,
that
yeah.
interact regularly together as a kind of a closed group for the most.
Yeah.
So there may be clusters.
Yeah.
So, you know, and like you said, we probably don't typically get more than 100 people at a meeting. I think when there was a contentious meeting some years ago, 2016-ish maybe, it might have been just over 100
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So,
I saw a photograph of, it was a larger town in the southern part of the state, and how they set it up. And they had, like, it was in the school gym. It was a lot bigger than our gym. But half the gym was set up as, you know, chairs like that in twos, spaced out 6 feet. And then the other half was single chair,
sure.
spaced out. And, you know, I don't know, they seem to think that worked pretty well.
No, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
You know, cluster seating here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess then we'll plan for the indoor, I should think, just because of.
Yeah, I think, you know, Chuck, what you're saying about, you know, lugging equipment outside
Just don't think we'll have
and
the
just the
manpower to do it.
people to do that, that really kind of puts a burden on a few people. Yeah, and then if it rained, we'd have to scramble to do something
I
else.
think of that sun shower that comes through.
Yeah,
Didn't see that coming.
yeah, I guess as long as people don't get too worked up and start spouting all over the place, we'll be okay.
That's your job. And you do it quite well, I must say.
Are we gonna have vaccination passports?
Not likely at this meeting.
I thought you didn't want people all
No,
worked
I'm
up.
not going there. I'm not going.
Yeah, no, trying to keep things basically pretty simple, pretty straightforward, more in line with Effingham's been for year after year. And as much as we can do that, that's probably the comfort zone and what people are going to want to, they're going to expect that. And, the mask is going to be the twist and the seating.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and if we have somebody handing out masks as people come in.
Right.
In September and November, people, maybe, I think I heard one person at each election complain about it.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't want to wear masks, but were respectful enough of others to just.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, we've all been conditioned if you're going into certain places.
Going into Hannaford,
Is this your issue that you're just gonna fight the world over today?
Yeah.
Right, go sit in the corner.
And I was at the door the entire time.
Yeah.
And there were less than a couple dozen people that didn't have one. We gave them one and they were in when they came back
they were
up,
fine.
they threw it away.
And part of that is, like you say, we're gonna have to send the representative out from Deanna's office to work with somebody outside. It might just be a lot quicker for a voter on election day to take a mask, go and get your business done for what, 8 minutes maybe?
Yeah, at the most. Yeah.
And, people aren't cooperating at that point. It just, that's just who you're dealing with.
Right.
It's not
Right.
about anything else.
And the people who grumbled about it, they did it anyway. And then they waited till they, putting the ballot in the ballot box, and then they, why do I have to do this? And then they left. So
14 months later, nobody's really like, I'm starting to like this. So.
Right. Right.
I would say most of the people who are coming to the door are really kind and understanding.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of people were thanking us as they went through. Thank you for, making this work.
Right.
Yeah.
And, we got a lot of people that volunteer to do this. So, it's not, you got to be conscious of other people's efforts. They're coming here, they're volunteering, they're helping out, they're making this work for everybody. So it's just a little bit of respect for the average person who doesn't have a dog in the fight on any issue, just doing the thing to try and help the town, have an honest free election, town meeting, whatever. So, is it too much to ask, right?
Sounds good. Cool.
All right, well, thanks for coming in and
no problem.
covering.
Thank you.
So we're going to have our first Historic District Commission application for
Coming in from Effingham Preservation
at the
Society.
May meeting for the Preservation Society sign. So
We got another one coming on Lord's Hill. It's being prepared right now.
Oh, good. Okay. Great. I like the idea of the sign and potentially, have buildings with the same kind of signs and like a historic tour kind of thing. Yeah, cool. Very good. Okay.
Don't forget to stop in on the office on your way out.
Oh, sure. Happy to.
I'm sure Deanna can fill in the what we couldn't.
Yeah.
You had a question.
Yeah, I wanted to check with her on, if we're having trouble getting volunteers and we don't need as many people as we had in November.
Oh, right.
But still need enough people to handle everything.
Right.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right, guys.
Good, thank you.
Thank you,
Have a
Susan.
good morning.
Susan. Let's see, where did we leave off here? We had old business, which I don't think we have any. Speak up if you do. New business, I think we cover all that in the
I could
earlier.
actually bring up something that I'm sure the public's gonna ask about opening the office.
Yeah.
And Deanna and I talked about it. We wanna wait till, Wesley's back on vacation and have a team meeting next week and bring a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen, probably your first May meeting.
Okay, so
Okay,
early May, we'll revisit the recommendation of the staff as to opening the building up, and if we did that, what that would look like, and the requirements for the public to come in and out, and the environment for the staff to interact.
correct.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. So I guess we go into non-public now. I will say that I'm not looking for a long session on non-public today because several of the board members actually have commitments later in the morning here. So
Do you want to do the public comment first, then go into non-public?
yes, I would like to, I prefer to get the public comment out of the way. And I'm gonna say, I really don't really like the idea of revisiting that. Once it's closed, I think we should just step away from it because it, you know, we gotta have a cap on some of this stuff. That's my feelings. If you guys don't agree, then fine, we'll go with whatever the majority says, but that's my thought. So with that, do we have anybody who wishes to communicate with the board?
I'm looking at people to raise their hand and I'm looking at the chat box. Can Chairman Callahan clarify his statement that, okay, Melissa, and you need to finish your thought, I think, that some people come to town meeting with an anarchist kind of attitude.
No, I'm not gonna clarify that. And I didn't say that they do.
Okay, and Rosemary Weisenbach has a question. I'll ask her to unmute. Okay.
Okay, my question is really, really quick. The town, the annual report, I understand it's going to be on the website. Do we have a date as to when that will be on the website?
Rosemary, it's going to go out in the next couple of days to the printer. So it's just a matter of now a Minuteman Press can turn around time to get it back to us. So the state requirement is for May 4th, 7 days before town meeting. We certainly have been hoping to put this together a little sooner, to have that out as early as we can. It will definitely be before May 4th, as long as the printers get a good turnaround on it. If we were fortunate to have it back in a week, that would be great, and we would make it available. I don't know that we can post anything on the website while it goes out to print because it wouldn't be final, right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next Wednesday is
That's
what,
gonna be my goal.
okay, hopefully it'll be out the next Wednesday.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then, Ms. Seaman said, with due respect to Chairman, Helen just said that in a conversation with moderator Slack.
Okay,
And then also she was asking, can the board clarify the warrant articles that are or are not on the warrant regarding daytime fire department coverage, AED?
I think with that, the warrant articles, once they're posted, that will be the thing. And the warrant articles have been prepared. They've already been reviewed by the budget committee. So I think that can be put on the town's website for review. And that might be the bulk of what people want to see in the town report anyway. So unless anybody objects to posting,
Put them up.
yeah, so if you could get the warrant articles posted on the town, then people can kind of see what they're coming to town meeting for. And hopefully that'll take care of some of what the issues and concerns that they have.
But the draft warrant articles, the budget committee reviews are on
So
the draft warrant articles.
Oh, this will be the
reviewed
approved, this will be
have
the
been on the
approved one.
website since February.
okay, and I don't think anything's changed, but we'll have the latest and greatest update because there may have been typos or anything that's been removed or added, and so that'll come from Audrey. But as Dave Strauss says, the budget committee had the initial draft version on the town's website under the budget committee's heading. So it can be found today there, and it might have some minor tweaks going forward when Audrey posts. Thank you, Dave.
Okay, we have one more question. How can people who do not have internet access to town report prior to the town meeting? We will have them available in the foyer of the town hall.
And I think it's the library is still open, Chuck?
It is.
So people could actually go down to the library and use the equipment there to.
And last year, we put a box up there and I brought 3/4 of the box back. There was only like probably 5 or 8 people that picked them up at the library.
Right.
But
But
we can do that again.
Does the library have internet access for people now? Are they doing that? Are they allowing people
Yes.
in to use it? So you could go down and use the computers at the library to review these things if you don't have internet at home.
And the hard copy will be there as soon as we have them back from the printer. We'll put a
Okay.
batch up.
Right, we'll have copies as soon as we have them at the library and here at town offices, and certainly handouts at the town meeting.
Okay, and to respond to the question about having an appointment at the town hall, I think most people have found when they come for like a dump sticker or transfer station sticker, if they ring the doorbell, we can pass it to them. We are requiring appointments for things that take a long time, but we're also being super understanding to people's schedules and trying to fit them in last minute. So I think with the town report, there's enough of us here, we can pass you one out the door. It shouldn't be an issue.
Hopefully you heard that, and just in case your voice
Thank
doesn't.
you.
Oh, it's okay. Anything else?
None, seeing none.
All right. With that, we've got another non-public. If the PD is available yet again, has anybody
I
communicated?
have not.
Okay.
I thought they were gonna be here this morning.
Let me see what we can find out here. Let's see if we get a response to that. And with that, why don't we take a few minutes to see if we're gonna end up, so we'll take a 5-minute break or so. Anybody needs the restrooms, whatnot. Yeah. Vote momentarily to enter into non-public session, in which case we're just waiting for representatives of the police department to join us. And with that, if there's any other old business that needs to be discussed, any last minute items, we can always address that while we wait. And in fact, actually, I think I might have something. Of course you do. This week I set up an escrow account for the subdivision on Jack Russell Road. Those folks have come in and done that. We worked through the Bank of New Hampshire to set that up. And I believe, Audrey, you have everything here that just is awaiting a signature from the treasurer.
Correct.
Okay, so as soon as that gets done, you'll notify me and I'll finalize that process with the bank.
Darlene has those marching orders. It should be Thursday.
All right. And I guess I'll just see where I am on Thursday. It looks like I can do it. Not too big there. The biggest thing on my calendar on Thursday is you're not available. So, yeah, find that other pile of stuff. In about 2 minutes, if Sean's not here, I'll probably go next door and.
Rattle cage.
Yes, exactly. Beat on the door.
And there goes that. 5 minutes.
Give them the standby. You can never find a cop when you need one. Ooh, not going there.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one.
You're going down the Krispy Kreme road, you're on your own.
Check, did you talk to Brian at all?
I'm actually having lunch with him tomorrow.
No kidding.
How's he doing?
Good,
Is he?
good, yeah.
All I was asking for him.
He's enjoying the full retirement scenario, so. He convinced him that even part-time work isn't what he wants to do anymore.
Well, we can add that to our resumes, life coach.
Yeah.
John.
Where, Joe?
Morning.
We're live.
Well, since you are here, I guess what, I'm gonna destroy this cable if we don't do something about this. Gonna make a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91A, Roman 3, subparagraph G, a security related issue. So,
I'll second it.
okay, all in favor?
All right.
To Helen and I. All right. When Audrey gives us the high sign, we'll move forward. Please take a seat, make yourself comfortable.
You're live.
All right. We are now ready to go back into public session. I will make a motion to enter back into public session.
Hold a second.
So all in favor, for Helen and I,
All right.
12:02.
12:02. And with that, do we want to seal the minutes? I don't think so. The other ones were pretty,
No.
yeah. So with that, I'm ready to make a motion here to adjourn, and I do so. Do I have a second?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Yeah, all right.
Carol and I, with that, we can now go to our next commitments.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
gentlemen. Crawling
Thank
in
you,
the
Dave.
library in half an hour.
Something across town and then back to meet with Ron and paving people here.
Meet him here at 1:30.
1:30, yeah.